if we're doing crunches all the time and we're in that tucked pelvis, and every time we crunch, we round our pelvis and we jam everything, we're potentially putting pressure downward on our pelvic floor, which is a big problem for men as well, not just for women. We're also likely putting a lot of compression into our lower back. And then we're like, but wait, why do I still have low back pain? I'm trying to strengthen my abs because we're not creating space through our lumbar spine. And in order to help get us out of back pain, we have to create space. Hey everyone, welcome to Core Connections, your health, fitness, and wellness podcast designed so you can take control of your health to live the active life you love. I'm your host, Erica Zeal, and for 20 years now, I've been helping women live a healthier, active life pain-free. And if you're ready to say goodbye to those annoying aches and pains, incontinence, improved diastasis recti, then join me inside my core rehab program. So you too can join others who've experienced life-changing results and get back to living the active life you love free from pain. Not only do you get access to learn my exact techniques that have been changing lives every single day for many, many years now, you also get access to me during my monthly live group coaching call. Head on over to corerehabprogram.com to learn more. Again, that's corerehabprogram.com. And for those of you who are expecting, you'll want to check out my prenatal program. So you can learn more about that at knockedupfitness.com. Okay, today I was inspired as I've been working on stuff around my new core athletic rehab level 1 instructor training course and certification to just talk about core function today, because I'm back with the studio, working with more and more people in person, which I love doing. I love getting to work with all of you virtually as well and have access to my online programs. We've changed to date well over 10,000 lives, which just blows me away. And I'm so grateful for this work that I get to do. And it so amazes me time and time again when we can start really applying, like, sometimes to me, I feel like it's like simple little new techniques and methodologies to not only our movement practice, our workouts, our exercises, but taking some of those pieces and applying it to how we're moving our day during the rest of our life. Because, right, our workout might be such a small part of our day, but we have aches and pains and dysfunctional stuff the rest of our day. So I want you all really thinking about, okay, when I'm talking about something and we're talking about a movement, how can that translate to what we're doing in the rest of our day as well? And so today, when I was putting together a presentation and I was inspired to talk about crunches and remind everybody again why I do not like traditional crunches or honestly a traditional static plank. I'll talk about both of those, but specifically the crunch movement, because the way we've been taught to do that, right? You're rounding your spine. We're tucking our butt, we're rounding our spine, we're pulling our head forward. So we're in this really rounded position. And then we're like, okay, now let's like feel the burn and make our abs really work. Well, there's a couple big problems that I have with that. Now, those of you that have done my core rehab program and those of you that work with me know, like, I'm going to teach you some flexion movements, but we're not doing that crunch where it's so extremely rounded and forceful. It's very different, right? Because I like to train your body to get deeper into your fascial system. How are we, addressing our pelvic floor function, whether you're a female or a male? Because yes, men out there, you have a pelvic floor as well. So this matters. Men just don't tend to have the direct pelvic floor issues like women can for obvious reasons. But men have back pain. A lot of men have back pain. Most men that I work with, they have back pain. That's why they find Pilates, because it helps them so much. But we're not doing like 1,000 crunches in a workout, or actually any crunches for that matter. We do some flexion. So let's talk about why I don't like those traditional crunches. And if you're still doing them and you're in love with them, fine, but just hear me out here and play around with some of this, because if we think about when we're sitting, a lot of us spend way more time sitting in our day than we really like. We're on our computer, we're on our phone. What happens when we sit? Well, a lot of people tend to tuck their pelvis, round forward, and then we start to get neck pain even, right? Low back pain. And then we're sitting in this rounded position a lot of our day. And then we're like, oh, we're going to go work out. And now we're going to do however many crunches and continue encouraging that rounding position of our body. Okay. Well, in my opinion, that those crunches potentially are leading to more dysfunction of your body. They're continuing to train your body to be in that position, which leads to pelvic floor dysfunction, back pain, neck pain, hip pain, weak core. Honestly, you might feel like, oh, but I feel my abs, are sore after I do crunches. Okay, well, maybe, but all you're doing is potentially leading to more imbalances in your core. And I like to help create a balanced core for people. Okay, so if we're just doing a lot of crunches, right, we might feel those rectus abdominals. We think like the six-pack muscles or our obliques really kicking in. Okay, great, but there's so much more to our core than that. Our core, to remind all of you, runs from the base of our pelvis, which includes our pelvic floor, all the way through our body, which includes all the fascia, our organs, right? Fascia wraps around our organs, all the nerves that run through our body, through our torso, through our hips, our spine, all of that. Our diaphragm, our mid back, all of that to me is part of your core. So when we start thinking about core training, we need to look at creating a balanced core for optimal function, not just having, quote, strong abs. A lot of people who have, quote, unquote, strong abs have dysfunction. They're like, but I'm doing all these for my strong abs, but I'm peeing my pants and I have back pain periodically or all the time or neck pain, whatever it might be. And I just keep thinking I need to have stronger abs. And it's not fixing the problem. Well, it's not fixing the problem because we're just continuing to lead to dysfunction because it's creating that tucked pelvic position. Well, we know in a tucked pelvic position that we're putting pressure downward on our pelvic floor. It's really, really hard. You guys can try it right now. If you're sitting right now, or even if you're standing and you go to tuck your pelvis, try to activate that pelvic floor and try to get length through the top of your head so we can activate all that muscles and fascia, not just in the outer part of our abdominals, but in through the core, like the inside of the spine and all of that. It's not possible. It is absolutely not possible to get into our deep core correctly or activate our pelvic floor with a tucked pelvis. And you guys, I will not name this person, but I saw a celebrity come out the other day talking about, oh, posture, and it's kind of a boring thing to talk about, but we need to talk about it. And she was talking about standing with a tucked pelvis. And I was like, no, please don't tell women to stand with a tucked pelvis because that tucked pelvis shuts off your deep core. Now, a little caveat to this is yes, if you are that person who tends to be really, really arched in your lower back, and you don't have a tucked pelvis, then sometimes you can sometimes think about that, but we want to make sure that that movement's not coming from you just clenching your glutes and tucking your pelvis. It's actually coming from inside of your core, those deeper abdominals, that pelvic floor deep core. So I have massive issues with women and men walking around, sitting around, exercising with a tucked pelvic position all the time. It leads to a lot of dysfunction. I have been untucking pelvises for years. I know it's so silly, people laugh when I say that, but I have, because that's where we need to be. Now, people can have a big arch in their low back and a tucked pelvis all at the same time. I see that, especially sometimes more with the mom population, because we're trying to create all these compensations, right? So if we're doing crunches all the time and we're in that tucked pelvis, and every time we crunch, we round our pelvis and we jam everything, we're potentially putting pressure downward on our pelvic floor, which is a big problem for men as well, not just for women. We're also likely putting a lot of compression into our lower back. And then we're like, but wait, why do I still have low back pain? I'm trying to strengthen my abs because we're not creating space through our lumbar spine. And in order to help get us out of back pain, we have to create space because ultimately, from what I see that a lot of people end up with pain and dysfunction because they lose space in their spine. And so then we're getting compression of the nerves, or, if there's already a herniated disc or bulging discs, there's not enough space. You can have absolutely no pain and function perfectly fine with bulging discs and herniated discs. So there's so much to think about when it comes to, okay, how can we strengthen our core? And there's got to be a lot better movements out there than just doing crunches or static planks for that matter. Now, what else is wrong with a crunch if we think about, okay, so while we're putting pressure down on the pelvic floor, we're putting compression into our lumbar spine, and then we are drawing the front of our ribs into our back and really causing us to round our spine and potentially pull our head forward. And I see a lot of people when they do crunches, they're stressing the front of their neck and they're pulling with their neck. And I know a lot of people that are like, I can't even do flexion at all, like a flexion movement because of my neck, because we shouldn't be doing crunches. We shouldn't be doing flexion with our neck. Our neck is a stabilizer, you guys. We need to become stronger through our torso, around our rib cage and our mid back, through our thoracic cavity. And then our neck should be lengthening and it should be stabilizing. And then we move. We need to initiate, lengthen, and then move from our ribs. So those are some big issues that I have with crunches. A lot of crunches for people just create more dysfunction. Now, when I teach flexion, because again, in my core rehab program, I do the very last phase, I reintroduce flexion because flexion is a functional movement, right? There's people that will argue with me and say, but we need to be able to do a crunch to get up and down off the ground and so on and so forth. And I don't disagree with that, but there's a way to do it that's very beneficial for our pelvic floor, for our lumbar spine, our entire spine for that matter, to strengthen our core, improve our breathing, and help us not have neck pain when we do flexion. I work with people periodically that have really severe neck issues, and we don't do any flexion in the beginning, but guess what? As I train them to become stronger in their ribs and through their thoracic cavity, through their pelvis, and we learn how to lengthen up, then we flex and we feel our ribs not going towards our back, or the front of our ribs not pushing towards our back, but towards our pelvis. It's just a little glide and slide. And that's what fascia likes. Fascia likes opposition and gliding and sliding. And so we have to start thinking about movement in a different way in order to yield better results, and better results more effectively. And for some, quicker than others. And for some, a lot of times people will start to notice improvement pretty quickly. And then from there, whatever rebalances we got to do, I'm like, do your homework, do whatever the exercises are. But just doing a bunch of crunches, in my opinion, is not going to get you where you need to go. And same with planks. And you're like, wait, why don't you like planking? So I don't like a static plank because I see all the time when people are holding just a static plank, a lot of them, like their heads up and they're pulling in their neck or they're pulling in their low back and they're like, oh my God, my back hurts. I'm like, well, yeah, no kidding. Your back hurts because you're not strengthening your deep abdominals, or your abdominals are barely on, or maybe your obliques are on and grippy. I don't love static planks. To be like, oh, I held a plank for 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, well, how's your back feel? And some people can do a static plank correctly. That's fine. But I like to teach people how to move through planking positions. And I start people modified. I start people at a wall. And I know some of you are like, wait, that's crazy. Does it do anything? Absolutely, it does, because we're teaching people how to find that opposition through the body, how to become stronger in a lengthened position, and what those fascial connections feel like to activate their deep core. And at the end of the day, that's what this comes down to, is understanding the fundamentals of our fascial system and breathing. And guess what? No amount of just doing movement without the breath component, tapping into our pelvic floor deep core layers, is going to do the trick. No amount of planking, no amount of crunching is going to really get you where you need to be from a prevention of aches and pains and dysfunction, or helping you get out of aches and pains and dysfunction, if we are just constantly trying to force our body to do the work. Many times you've got to slow down. We have to lighten the connections, and we have to focus on our breath. And this is why I bring people back all the time in my core rehab program. I'm like, you've got to slow down. And it's really hard for a lot of you. I know that. But when we go slower, we're more focused. We're focused on our breath, helping to activate us, activate the deep core, our muscular system, and our fascial system. And then guess what? As time goes, before you know it, you actually get so much stronger. But we've got to retrain our body how to move. And that's what this is all about. And that's why I'm so excited to be doing more in the instructor training world, teacher training for Pilates instructors, physical therapists, personal trainers, strength and conditioning coaches. Yes, you heard me right. this, Coach Jen, those of you that know her, know she comes from more that strength and conditioning world. And she's always like, Erica, we need to get this out there, because what this does when we work with professional athletes, because yes, we have used this training techniques with professional athletes, and it is phenomenal, the results that they get stronger. And it just amazes me time and time again what really is possible when we are open to learning something new and training our body in a new way. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in and joining me today, talking about my issues with crunches and planking. As always, please share today's episode with a friend. And of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can always reply to any of my emails that you receive, or you can always find me on Instagram at Erica Zeal. And of course, if you're looking to learn more about my programs or instructor training courses, you can find all of that on my website at ericazeal.com. And until next time, you guys have a great week.